So we're looking at the Honda service manual, and this is the intake and exhaust valve lash clearance here, and especially make sure you're taking it on at a cold rating. So 0.002 inch, 2/1000ths of an inch, or 0.05 millimeters. And then we're going to look at the spark plug again, and your gap is 0.6 to 0.7 millimeters. Alright, so this video is just going to be a general setting the valves and changing the spark plug. Just a little maintenance that you'll want to do periodically. So this is on a SL70 72cc engine. What we do is we have our cylinder head. This is where we'll be working to set the valves. Your access point is right here. This is a 17 millimeter cap, and then underneath that's your intake valve, and this is the access to your exhaust valve on the bottom for the engine. And then these are the basic tools that we're going to need to do the job. So what I have here is our 17 millimeter wrench for those caps, 5/8 inch socket. This is actually a spark plug socket with a little rubber bushing inside of it. It's going to be to remove your spark plug and tighten it up. New spark plug. This is NGK C7 HSA is the required spark plug for the 72cc engines. My valve Tappet tool. This is made by Motion Pro. That's the part number for it. This is going to be for a 9 millimeter nut. That's on the valve Tappet. And this is the specialty tool that is shaped like a square. That's going to be your valve Tappet. Spec requires 0.002 valve lash. So here's my feeler gauge that I've pre-bent so I can get in the access. And then the spark plug gap plug or gap tool. This is a cheap tool you can go buy at your auto parts store. I have it highlighted here. Spark plug is 0.6 to 0.7 millimeters is your gap. So these plugs come a little tighter on the gap initially. So we might as well just get this preset, which I already did. So you're just going to go ahead and put it on here, open it up, and then slide it over to get your gap that you want, and make sure that you have enough clearance in there. So now that's set, we can replace our old plug when we get to that step. Alright, so I'm going to step you through real quick how to do the feeler gauge, and then get your valve set, and what you're going to look for when you're setting your top dead center on the combustion stroke. So my first step is going to get this cover off so we can get access to the flywheel, so we make sure it rotates and we get to the correct top dead center at the compression stroke. These are JIS bits. It's number 3. This is manufactured by or sold by Motion Pro, which you can get on Amazon for two for about $6. All these Japanese screws on these bikes are JIS head types, so it's different than Phillips head. You'll end up messing up these impact screws, or these screws that are tightened. If you use a Phillips head, you'll end up stripping them out. So invest in a set of number 3 and a number 2 JIS bits. So here's our flywheel. And then right here is your fire line This is your top dead center line on your flywheel, and you're going to want to turn this counterclockwise. So we're going to take off the tappet cover. So we can get access to the tappets here. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. So this cap up here left this rubber seal, so make sure you get that and put it back in there. So we're looking at the top of the cylinder head. This is your intake tappet and rocker arm down in there. What I'm going to do now is we're going to look and watch while we rotate the flywheel counterclockwise. We're going to watch for it to drop down and come back up. So after we saw that drop down, I'm going to keep rotating until I get to top dead center on the flywheel. So we're on the combustion stroke, top dead center. Cam lobes are facing down, so there's no tension on the rocker arms or valve springs. And I can feel that there's a little bit of play in there, so we're in the right spot. Next we're going to do is loosen up. Use our tappet screw kit tool. I'm going to go ahead and loosen this nut that holds the tappet in place. And then you can use the square tool to move the tappet back. And this is where this pre-bent .002 feeler gauge comes in handy. Now we're going to slide that in between top of this intake valve stem and where the tappet touches. We're going to gently tighten it down. So you get just enough tension, like a no-go, go-no-go situation where you just feel it start to grab on that feeler gauge. So that's about right for me. I can move it in and out, but I feel that the tappet's rubbing on there. So we're going to want to tighten this nut back up. And what this tool does is that it actually lets you tighten your nut, but also hold on to the tappet so it doesn't rotate with the nut and mess up this adjustment. Making sure I didn't loosen it too much here. Alright, so my tappet nut is tightened down, and I'm still get the same resistance, so we're set. And we're done with the intake. And go ahead and put the cap back on. Don't over torque it. We'll do the same there on the exhaust side. Loosen your nut on your tappet. Back your tappet out a little bit. Let's put our feeler gauge back in there. And we're going to tighten your tappet down. So that feels good. Alright, we'll tighten that cap back on. Make sure your rubber's on here to seal. Now it's time to just put your cover back on your flywheel. Alright. Now we're just going to kick it over and make sure it all starts up. Everything sounds good. I don't hear any crazy exhaust noises or anything, so we're good there. I didn't show you the spark plug removal or replacement. We know how to do that. Just wanted to show you how to gap it real quick. Thanks for watching.